And if you haven't been following the story, Democrats refuse to fund Homeland Security until Trump agrees ICE agents won't wear masks and a bunch of other immigration concessions. Across the Southeast, roughly 30% of TSA officers aren't showing up to work. Maybe they can't afford to and instead are driving for DoorDash or working other odd jobs to make ends meet, leading to predictable results.
Give them this perspective. It's unbelievable. Thousands and thousands of travelers just trying to get through the main TSA checkpoint. They have wrapped this line through the baggage claim area.
With us now, Jillian Michaels, host of the Keeping It Real podcast, NewsNation contributor Cillizza, Mike Nellis, former senior advisor to the Kamala Harris campaign. Gents, you know the rules. Ladies first. Jillian, Republicans control the House, the Senate, and that White House 16 blocks down Pennsylvania Avenue. Have they done enough to explain to America, to convince America that in their mind, I think there's a reasonable argument for this, that it's Democrats' fault everyone's waiting in lines?
I don't think so, personally. I would love to be tribal here, but I just don't think so. And whenever this stuff happens, I tend to believe that both sides are playing games. I'm under the impression that there was going to be a vote this weekend to fund TSA, or am I late to the game on this one?
There have been many votes. The Democrats will vote on their proposal, which Republicans won't vote for, and the Republicans will vote on their proposal, which the Democrats won't vote for. And we all wait in line.
I just blame both sides for this, personally. But
this is a good point to get to Cillizza on here. My reporting, now these are Republican sources, but they basically told me if it wasn't going to get solved today, it's not going to get solved for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have talked about this. Is like, if you ask the average person, like, what does the Department of Homeland Security do? They'd be like, protect the homeland? Maybe. But this is a pain point, right? Austin, Atlanta, LaGuardia. It starts to impact, when it starts to impact regular non-hyper-political people is when I think something might get done. But, you know, the way the congressional schedule works, I mean, it has to reach a point where it gets too painful for them not to make concessions on both sides. I'm actually with Jillian. Democrats are blocking this. The reason they're doing it, I think, is because they figure, well, exactly what you said. Republicans control the White House, the House, and the Senate, so people are going to blame them.
That's a great talk. Nellis, again, the Department of Homeland Security, we are in a war with Iran. The threat of Islamic terrorism has never been higher. The Iranians just issued a threat against America's tourist sites during spring break. If, God forbid, knock on wood, whatever you want to say, there is a terrorist attack at an airport or an attempt, I don't understand how that works out well for Democrats.
I don't think it's going to look good for anybody, again, to the point that Chris and Jillian have made. Both sides look silly here in any shutdown fight, but I don't think the Democrats should back down on their sincere desire to rein in ICE, which has gotten multiple people killed. It's been kidnapping people, wearing masks, arresting people without a warrant. Like, those are sincere beliefs that the Democratic Party and the American people want.
I get that 6 weeks ago that argument really worked because ICE was in the news. It's not anymore. Doesn't that change the calculus?
No, I don't think so. I don't think the American people have forgotten that 2 people were killed in Minneapolis just 2 months ago.
Okay.
I will say, though, I do think that Ossoff ad is good. The ad against Ossoff. I mean, I actually do think, like, that's the kind of thing, you know, you talk in these vagaries and stuff, and I'm always like, people are not engaged at that level. But everybody has gotten to the airport and seen the people being like, are you in line? And it's like 1.5 miles long. So that experience it's not bad. Like, if you were trying to motivate movement, that's an ad that if I'm John Ossoff, I'm like, I don't really love that.
Yeah, I had this plan that I was going to either myself go, but there's no lines here in D.C. because evidently the TSA workers in D.C. show up, or send out one of our reporters to go just ask people in line, who do you blame, who do you blame, who do you blame?
That's interesting.
But yeah, so Jillian, I'm going to switch here a little bit, but you're in Los Angeles and you have a unique view into the world of liberal intelligentsia and donors out there. It is about time for the midterms, which means that Democrats think they can win Texas once again. And there is a new poll out that James Tallarico leads both Cornyn and Paxton because, of course, the Republicans are in a runoff because they seem to be intent on committing political suicide in Texas. Don't understand why. Are you yet at parties where liberals and the Dems are salivating over Texas?
Me personally, I think it's possible. I think it's possible that Tallarico could take the seat. I personally am not a Tallarico fan, but he's hugely popular.
Was he?
Of my front, I hear Leland. I hear about him like I hear about Mamdani. So the reason that I'm saying this is because I would have told you there's no shot Mamdani would be mayor of New York, and he is in fact the mayor of New York. So I hate to tell you that I'm seeing tremendous parallels here.
Mike Nellis, you are a political consultant. You have been extraordinarily successful in getting candidates elected. Mr. Tallarico here was on the Bulwark podcast talking about whether God was binary or non-binary. Here he is.
First, how big is God's sausage, would you say? We know God is a man, and so I'm just wondering, like, how healthy his hog is.
Listen, I know that I was being provocative with that comment. While it's maybe provocative politically, I don't think it's controversial theologically. Most Christians believe that God is beyond gender.
Mike, would you have advised him to say that?
I don't think it matters. I think what's happening right now is Republicans see the same polling that I do that shows Texas is really competitive right now. So they want to be talking about trivia. They want to get into the culture war because they can't talk about affordability, housing, jobs, anything like that. So if they can get people to care about whether or not James Tallarico uses the right pronouns for God, they might have a chance to win. But I don't think it's going to work. This is the same problem Democrats had in 2024. They weren't laser focused on kitchen table issues that people cared about. Now Republicans are in that position because the economy is so much worse than it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I do think Mike is right that if I was Tallarico and that question got asked, I'd be like, you know what? I want to talk about affordability and why gas prices are like that's a straight up winner. Like don't deviate from that. The more
Jillian,
the more you talk about cultural stuff, if you're a Democrat, the more.
Well, if you're a Democrat, and that's the question, Jillian, what is it? Or
a Republican too. I think people are tired of the Republicans on the culture war stuff as well.
Jillian, though, I wonder, though, your friends who are captivated by Tallarico, is it just the idea that a Democrat can win in Texas?
Gosh, honestly, he said some things to me. This is not one of them, by the way. I would tend to think that God doesn't necessarily have testicles or ovaries. This, to me, is not that controversial. But when you say, like, oh, there's 6 genders, and you start playing into all that stuff, it's like, for the love of God, can't we just focus on the bigger issues? Do we have to default to this kind of insanity? It's so divisive and it's such a distraction. But I think Leland, I don't know. I also don't know what people saw in Mamdani. So for me, it's more of the same. I would look for a Democrat that was a little bit more back to basics. As a former Democrat, that is what would appeal to me. Like, can't we get back to the basics and the core issues?
I'm going to give Mike the last word.
Yeah, I just want to jump in on that because, like, I hear that from Republicans all the time is that they don't understand the appeal of Mamdani, but Mamdani is appealing to a lot of people for the same reason Trump is. The system isn't working. It's not delivering direct solutions to their problems. So you throw culture war stuff at them, they bounce it right off and they go, hey, I'm going to help you buy a house. I'm going to help you retire with dignity. That's when the system is broken. They're going to turn to candidates they might not understand. And Mamdani's doing a pretty good job in New York City generally.
Well, candidates who promise to tear.
I don't see that at all.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.